Bunker Hill Community College, charting the course for a sustainable future. Since its founding in 1973, Bunker Hill Community College has been in the forefront of not only higher education, but social and global issues as well. Continuing that tradition, in 2011, Bunker Hill hosted the first Northeast Regional Collaborative Symposium of the American College and University President's Climate Commitment. The two-day event was a collaboration between Bunker Hill Community College and Second Nature, a national nonprofit organization dedicated to creating a sustainable society through higher education. The ACUPCC represents the best practices of higher education to equip society in the effort to restabilize the Earth's climate.
I'm really thrilled that this symposium is being held at Bunker Hill Community College, that it's the first inaugural symposium, regional inaugural symposium. It's being held at a community college, and it's being held at a college that has such a great deal of involvement in sustainability, from faculty, from staff, from students, from trustees.
Throughout the two-day symposium, over 40 member colleges and experts in the field wrestled with the challenges of creating a sustainable society and developing an effective and efficient coexistence between natural and man-made environments.
The sole purpose of trying to transform the way higher education teaches and operates and work with communities so that the result is that every graduate would know how to go out and live their lives in a way that is aligned with healthy, just, and sustainable principles. And we did a number of things over the years. One of them was to help the creation of ASHE, which is now a 1,000-member organization that is really trying to create a learning community across all of the institutions. And then in 2006, we teamed up with ASHE and Eco-America to create the American College and University President's Climate Commitment. No other sector has made a commitment to do what is scientifically necessary, and that is to become climate neutral and to become sustainable in every other way. No other sector in society. It's the best kept secret that we are out there, regardless of what the politics are saying. We're saying that we recognize what the scientific challenges are, and we are moving to make these changes so that, and if we don't, who will?
The energy circumstances that we are in the middle of are completely predictable, and they were predictable as we, experienced the outages and the oil shocks of the 70s. They were predictable as we looked at the challenges of our existing fleet of conventional power plants. The game is by no means over in Massachusetts. There's a lot more challenge in front of us. A lot more momentum that we're going to need, and we're going to need a lot of folks to kind of weigh in on that. When I first heard about the President's climate commitment, first of all, I thought it meant the President of the United States climate commitment, and I said, I didn't read this. I hadn't seen this in the paper. Where did President Bush, or was this President Clinton, or who made this climate commitment? But then I started looking at it a little closer, and I said, wow, that's great. I really applaud the activities that have gone on here. But I was frankly quite skeptical, and there's so much appetite in this world, and there has been over the last bunch of years, to sort of mouth the words and pay lip service and sort of, sign up for commitments, but there's nothing binding about it, and so it doesn't really change much.
Why are we preaching to the choir all the time? Why are we just talking to ourselves? Why don't we get out there and do this? We got to go out there. We got to change the world one by one. We can't just sit around and write essays and write plans, We gotta do this stuff in person.
And let's face it, climate action planning is not an easy task, right? Anyone that has tried this or has found the job in their lap for whatever reason knows that this is very involved, very complicated, and we're trying to hook people up, connect the dots, if you will, to bring resources to bear so that more and more schools can become compliant with the ACUPCC.
Speakers, forums, panel discussions, and workshops all laid out opportunities and potential solutions.
This is the first regional symposium that we've done. About a year ago at our 2010 Climate Leadership Summit, the presidents who run the initiative, who signed the President's Climate Commitment, decided that they wanted to return to the idea of having a presidential summit that's focused on the issues that presidents confront. And what they wanted to do for their sustainability teams was to have regional symposiums where schools who face similar challenges could come together with their full sustainability teams to really work through these issues, to share and to learn from each other.
We ought to take advantage of what we study in terms of human behavior as well. Every time I have talked to any of my children and said, I want to teach you something, they immediately stop listening. How we communicate about climate change, what we decide to take on, the importance of action over rhetoric is part and parcel, it seems to me, of the challenge that higher education institutions can help meet. Let's work really hard on, as part of our climate commitment, to finding ways to communicate much better. I have never met a college president who would say business as usual can possibly continue. I would bet there is nobody in this room who can look at the society we live in and say business as usual is okay.
I think we need almost a higher bar. I mean, daylight is burning. There's not a lot of time left to really make a difference in all of our futures on these matters. And I would, figure out how to get cogeneration into my campus and really look hard at that new building plan and say, why isn't that a net zero energy building? We did one project at North Shore Community College, 60,000 square feet. And the architects designed it and engineered it so that it will be zero net energy. That campus will never have to worry about the cost of electricity, the cost of natural gas or oil, because it is set up. And the building is, as I understand now, is actually coming in at the same cost of a normal building built to code.
Get the students engaged. They're so jazzed about doing things on the campus to help build our success record, that's a help to the school in attaining the commitment that I promised, not knowing what I was doing 4 years ago, because they see this link between their future careers and what they're doing on campus. But these are business students. They like to invent new things. They're entrepreneurial. So they came up with this Give and Go program. A couple of years ago, our RAs approached Amanda and they said, you know what? Every year the kids move out of the dorms, we're a residential campus, and they dump couches and books and a zillion things into the dumpsters. We need to do something about that. So instead, we now donate all these usable items to 4 charities.
We also are coming up with an important idea that as these buildings actually become more efficient, we're putting systems in these buildings that are more efficient, that in parallel to that, systems, the actual intensity of our buildings are going up. People are using more plug loads, they're using the buildings for longer, and we're filling them with more people. So there's this constant balance between efficiency and intensity. You can't always use a life cycle cost assessment to justify sustainability. That sustainability isn't just about a more efficient boiler, it's about telling a story, it's about social and definitely environmental impacts.
Back in 2004, there was a group of student activists at Duke who were lobbying for student solar panels, PV panels, on the Student Center. VP for Finance Administration was like, we're not going to spend resources to put solar panels on the Student Center because we have so many other building for needs. But he said, what I will do, if you guys are serious about this, if what you're saying is we need to reduce our carbon footprint and that's why we need these solar panels, is I will empower you, sort of bless you, to go off and do a study. Figure out what our footprint is, figure out where our emissions are coming from, work with faculty, mentors, and the facilities managers, and tell me what are a number of options for reducing those emissions. And this was one of the results of the analysis they came back with. So this is a McKinsey graph, and what it shows essentially are, I think there were 19 different strategies that ended up in these students' final report. And each of those strategies is represented by one of the bars on the graph. The height of the bar, either below or above the zero line, represents how much money that measure either costed or saved the university over the life of the project. So this was life cycle cost accounting. The width of the bars represent the amount of carbon that would be reduced from Duke's overall footprint if they did those measures. The solar PV panel installation that the students were lobbying for, that's S. That's way over to the right-hand side. It's a skinny little, almost no reduction bar with the big, huge cost. What they realized is that In fact, no one was being obstructionist or unreasonable. There were good reasons for the no that they got. And they became the biggest advocates for going and doing these other things with the money first.
Let me say one more thing about our corporate sponsors. We need them to bring their solutions to the college campuses. We also need them to be able to demonstrate the kinds of technologies and new strategies that could make a huge difference. And finally, we need them to actually help create the demand for the colleges and universities to produce the kinds of graduates that will make their businesses more successful because they are following a sustainable model as companies.
Speaking from the industry side, where I come from, one of the things we like about the BHCC is that you have goals, and you measure the goals. And that's a big difference with this group, is that you actually are driving towards carbon neutrality. You have goals set, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So we see that this is the right group because you really have those goals.
For us, we have to remember that even as educators trying to bring these ideas to our students and our community, that we have to live them by example too. So this means removing the hierarchical social structures that we have in order to teach our students them.
What we do at the American College University President's Climate Commitment and Second Nature as a supporting organization is really focus on building the learning community that the network represents. And so every event that we do is really focused on interaction. As you saw from the discussion about the aha moments, the real excitement and the real learning can often come from your peers.
We all know one of the obstacles that we all face is how do we find the time to do this? A lot of faculty have many responsibilities, and even providing a small incentive was kind of just enough. So we launched the program, and we're surprised to get several dozen applicants. We ended up selecting 10 of those, and to give you a sample of the type of proposals that we got, and what Jim was talking about, the creativity just really surprised us. For example, we had a faculty member here, Chris Watson, who integrated sustainability within his statistics course. He came up with the scheme when he saw our climate action plan on the website to engage students with real live data sets from our greenhouse gas inventory and from the reportage from transportation surveys, and now his class is filled with several modules that have to do with these specific data sets.
For 2 days, participants analyzed, reviewed, and picked apart topics that included sustainability and curriculum development among a number of colleges and universities, a campus energy plan, energy conservation and capital improvement, wind, biomass, landfill gas to energy, power purchase agreement, integrated sustainability financing, and revolving loan funds. And the reaction to 2 days of concentrated effort to reduce campus carbon emissions?
I thought the conference was really fantastic. It was a good mix of formal presentations, panel discussions, and really great interactive sessions where people could dive into the dialogue and start to create their to-do list and now walk away with a plan of implementation as opposed to planning for climate action. So it's the next step, the next phase for many of these college campuses, and I'm excited to see what comes next.
This is really about trying to understand how to live better as a complex civilization and live in better harmony with a life support system so that everybody on the earth can have a better quality of life. And so that is not going to be solved easily, but it's going to be solved, Mary, in the kinds of programs that you're setting up here at Bunker Hill Community College, where it's really beginning to embed in the curriculum.
If you think about sustainability, in and of itself, it requires collaboration. It requires cross-disciplinary solutions. It's not something that can be solved by any one person or any one discipline. And so I think that's really the value of bringing everybody together and seeing this collaboration move everybody's efforts forward.
The first Northeast Regional Collaborative Symposium of the American College and University President's Climate Commitment drew to its close. The feeling was a combination of concern, enlightenment, and hope. 10 years ago, there were very few college presidents that were focusing on this in a strategic way. In a very short period of time, we now have 670 of your colleagues who are saying this is one of the most important things that we can do.
It was particularly appropriate that the regional summit take place right here in our new LEED Gold building. This has been a tremendous 2 days. I heard a lot of positive comments. This is the first regional symposium that has been held. If this, in fact, is a prototype for the regional sustainability symposium, then I think this is a good one. I think our institution is at a particular advantage because collectively, not just our college community, faculty, staff, students, trustees, and foundation board members have agreed the sustainability is one of our major college goals, but in our strategic planning session, government, business, civic, and community leaders agreed with us that sustainability should be one of the major goals of Bunker Hill Community College.
Once again, as in the past, Bunker Hill Community College has taken the lead in defining and determining a course of action on one of the world's major concerns. The first of many symposiums to come has helped formalize a direction that can truly change the world. Because, as President Fifield concluded, our students will take the ideas home and spread the word.